Hi, this is Bill, and today's topic is why I'm not good at looks maxing. This is a reaction video to a couple posts I've seen on this topic, and one of them is by Travis Wu. He's a guy who is an adventurer living in Hawaii. He's a crypto trader, and he does a lot of other things too. He's a pretty cool dude. I really like his content, his channel, and he puts a great deal of emphasis on looks and being fit, which I agree. And I'm going to be reading some of this because I'm not so good at free balling, but it's such as it is. So anyway, I've made comments on that. I feel that personality and basically talent to do things is way more important. And I get a surprising amount of pushback on that. And the thing that often gets cited is that, oh yeah, there's all these studies that show how much better people do that are good looking in life than not. And this actually, at one level, doesn't really surprise me because looks is something that's pretty easy to quantify. We all seem to kind of agree on certain physical characteristics as being good. For example, like height, 6 foot, for a guy, and body fat, percent, lower is better, and body proportions and muscularity, things like that. We seem to kind of more or less agree on all these things. And so, whereas, things such as skills, talent, I mean, that's terribly diverse. I mean, like, for example, if you're good in basketball, but you're looking for say for a chess player, it's harder I guess, for people to know how that would translate. And again, the personality, I think people kind of know when someone has a good personality, and then they magically attract people, and likewise, people with poor personalities repel people. But again, these things are not so easy to quantify and assess quickly. Okay, for what I see as social media, here I refer to YouTube and Instagram that I have most familiarity with. People, I feel, they're able to leverage their looks into social attraction have a certain characteristic. Here I show a BMI versus percent body fat chart. And I'm using BMI instead of height and weight, because this sort of normalizes those two things into one number. Anyway, I have shown a plot here that has 8,000, I guess, 550 males, and I've roughly drawn a line through the center of the points. I think medically speaking, this whole BMI thing is about estimating a person's percent body fat based on easy to measure properties like height and weight. Thus, the medical wisdom says if your BMI exceeds 25, you need to lose weight. This is obviously horseshit, as evidenced by the large variability of individuals not on this line. The people who get attraction on social media, at least from my experience, have about a 10% body fat and about 25 BMI. So yeah, I've identified the sweet spot. Today I weighed 160 pounds at 5'10" and have about 12% body fat. So that clearly puts me outside the sweet spot. I have about a 23 BMI right here. So I'm definitely on the skinny side of muscularity. No surprise there. Say on the one startling feature is that out of 8,550 people, there are about 2 people with with this characteristic of 10% and 25, or about 0.02%. So social media is pretty brutal. So as this discussion goes back and forth, Travis opined that the best looking BMI is 21 to 22, which he says is his. and uses Brad Pitt's Fight Club physique as evidence. I'm not really familiar with Fight Club, but I'm more familiar with his part in Troy. And according to the internet, he weighed 180 pounds at 5'11", giving him that 25 BMI sweet spot number. And he does look stunning. I checked into Fight Club, and he did weigh 155 to 160 in that movie, which places his BMI around 22. He looks good, but definitely slimmer, and I would guess his percent body fat was a bit lower than in Fight Club, giving him a more chiseled look. But the reaction to his low weight on Reddit is, how can he look that good being that skinny? So, yeah, so I guess, yeah, I guess there's still a sense that if you're left of 25, you're probably on the skinny side of things. I get that from a lot of people. So anyway, so how would I rate myself on this 1 to 10 look scale? Travis shared, this is funny, Travis shared that one of his commentators said that you are at an 8 at best, which I thought was funny. I think he was a little offended by that. So anyway, based on that, I would guess probably I'm a 7. I get a lot of compliments on my physique at the park or at the beach, but really not much on social media. Okay, now we gotta take off the shirt. I mean, hey, I've got some abs and I've got the side cuts. So anyway, the second part of this refers to a channel actually by an autistic guy, middle-aged autistic guy who's, I guess, very depressed about his difficulties with, I guess, getting married. And I resonate with him a lot because he talks about his childhood and his, his adulthood. And I'm literally checking off the boxes. Yeah, that's me. That's me. That's me. I experienced that. And yeah, it's interesting that he has done really well with YouTube. Like in a very short time, he's gone to like over 10,000 subscribers. His videos go viral. And, unlike me, whereas I'm kind of struggling with this platform, as I did with Instagram. And yet, we've ended up very differently because I did manage to get married and stayed married for a long time. So, he's struggling with this. So, obviously, I'm kind of curious. What can I learn from him that I could, maybe leverage to make my YouTube channel do better? So, here's the thing that is interesting though, is because a lot of his commenters will say he's into fitness and stuff like that, so he works out. So a lot of his commenters will say to him, well, hey, you're a really good-looking guy, so you should be having no difficulty finding dates and relationships and stuff like that. And I could tell he's really annoyed by this. So I commented to him, and he actually liked this comment. I said, my experience is that I think the looks is very secondary to personality. And so, and I think he resonated with this because I think it's true. Yeah. So anyway, I guess I'm wondering why he seems to do so much better with YouTube than like I am, and I guess I chalk it up to this. He speaks really well. He doesn't seem to have the physical coordination deficits that I have, because this impacts my speaking too. So I chalk it up to that. Okay, so what do I really believe about this? Well, this is my take on it. I think the world really does use looks as a proxy for personality, talent, and of course looks. And I actually don't think this is entirely wrong either, in a practical sense of the word. I mean, I think it's wrong in a generalization sense of the word, but here's been my experience. When I was one thing I learned very early on as a kid in school, it seemed like all the same kids that were doing well in the playground were the ones doing well in the classroom and extracurriculars and so on. And sadly, the kids that struggled in the classroom were also struggling pretty much everywhere else. In other words, talent seems to be terribly multidisciplinary. If you find yourself good at one thing, you're probably be good at a lot of other things, and the opposite is true. So where I'm going with this is that it wouldn't surprise me that if you got someone, let's say someone's a 10 on the look scale, they're probably not going to be any worse than a 7 on a personality scale or talent scale. So in a sense, what I'm trying to say here is that these people that are getting on better in life because of their good looks, as these studies say, I think you need to really look at what is specific to their job performance, or if that's personality or whatever skills, and really see if they're also doing better there as well, independent of what you think of their looks. And I wouldn't be surprised if you find that these so-called successful, good-looking people are probably performing very well in other areas of life too. And so we've kind of built this culture that you can, in a sense, judge a book by its cover, is what we're doing here. Now, this is where autism, I think, really throws a wrench in the works for, say, someone like me, because I would say personality and talent to do things, I'm probably like a 1. I'm just not good. However, autism impacts those things. However, autism does not impact my looks at all, really, because that's going to be just kind of a combination sum of my parents' looks and of course their ancestry. And I would say my parents were decent-looking people, so certainly I would certainly say no worse than average, and so that's probably what I am. And of course, I do all this hard training, which I think is helping me look, better than just my straight baseline. So I would say, yeah, again, I think 7 is probably a reasonable estimate for me, but. The thing is, instead of me being like a, kind of across the board numbers, say 777 or something like that, I'm like a 117. And at the end of the day, as I'm trying to seek to find my tribe and place in the social structure, I do believe that my personality and lack of talent to do things is really holding me back a lot more. Nobody really cares about that. Maybe I look better than for the part or whatever, because it's not relevant to having a good personality or being good enough to do things socially with other people. So anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, share, subscribe. I hope you find some of this kind of funny. I do too, actually. This whole looks thing is kind of silly to me. Anyway, bye-bye for now.